Kia ora koutou, ko Gaila toka ingoa. Greetings and welcome everyone. My name is Gaila Kogar, and today I'm talking to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand. We're really excited to be talking about the 24 hours of listening and sharing sessions for 2023. On the 1st of December, Friday, the International Alliance of Academies of Childhood Disability will be talking about what adults with disability tell us about their childhood. This is brought to you by the Global Professional Education Committee. We will be joining together globally to talk about what adults with disability have experienced through their lifespan and what they can tell us about their experiences. Today I have three friends and colleagues with me to discuss this. So let's start. Hi Amy, what do you think is important about this topic?
Hi Gaila. I think this topic is fundamentally important from my perspective as a community advocate, because what adults tell us can lay the foundation for lifespan advocacy and the approach of understanding of what it means to live with CP at whatever age you are, particularly in terms of giving practical everyday life experiences to people who've only ever seen their CP as part of a pediatric condition, because there's so much emphasis on pediatrics.
Wonderful. And Warud, tell us about yourself and why you think it's important.
Oh, yes. So I recently worked with the CP register, and similar to what Amy has said, children grow on to become adults with typical lifespans, and we currently know very little in the published literature about the effects of CP and how that unfolds across the years and how the priorities change across their journey and their needs as well.
Wonderful. And Miriam, what about in your role? Tell us about what's important in this topic.
Kia ora, Gaila. As a school-based physiotherapist, I'm really interested in what advice we should be hearing from adults to how this can inform our practice in journeying with families when they have younger children, because they all grow up to be adults. And what could we be doing differently which would make life better for them?
Yeah, sounds really important. So we're looking at a lifespan approach, and these listening and sharing sessions are open to anyone. So we're really encouraging adults with disability to attend, children, parents, siblings, carers, people who work with people with disabilities in the community, educators, health professionals, and of course we'd really like to hear and listen to, have information from policymakers as well. So the next thing is thinking about what impact do you think this global session will have on your workplace. So Amy, you're with the Cerebral Palsy Society of New Zealand.
One of the biggest things and most influential things in my work is being asked questions of all the time of what happens next. As I always say, CP doesn't stop at 18, but it can feel like it does in terms of the practical information. So I think having a global perspective of what it means to live with CP will be able to give our members and our families a global sense that they're part of a community, and they're part of a community that have thought about an issue that is incredibly important to the family, but may not be reflected in what they see in everyday life. So the idea of having something that focuses on the lifespan will give our families a real boost, I believe, and a real practical sense of community.
And what about for you, Warud?
Well, in practice, I think it's a really important topic for health professionals to learn and make changes to current practice with the insights from adults who have the lived experience. We can understand the priorities of adults better if it's, looking after joint care or being able to participate more with your friends.
And Miriam, what about within the education system?
That's a good question, Gaila. I think going on from what Warud was saying is, what can we be learning? What should we be doing differently when we have this opportunity of thinking about our tweens and our teens going through puberty? Where can we be making the most difference that's going to be the most value for them as an adult?
Yeah, and I think this conversation is really important because it goes across all people with disabilities. So Amy's here advocating on behalf of the Cerebral Palsy Society, but it's important to think that this is important information for everyone across diverse populations. And like we've talked about, this is important through all ages, and people who have lived experience as adults can share that information. So Amy, what would you most be looking forward to in these listening and sharing sessions?
I'd most be looking forward to in a sense of how different people construct their ideas of adulthood with a disability, because there's so many different ways to approach that. Like for so long, there's been that sense of that disability is a bit of a sprint, like you have to do a certain amount of therapy by a certain amount of time, before the child turns 18, so that they're all bright and shiny. But there's so many different ways to approach the lifespan and to approach living with a disability and developing a sense of self and a sense of connection to your disability, that I'm really interested to see how people make sense of adulthood and make sense of all the different things that come along with not only being an adult with a disability, but being an adult that's perceived to have a disability.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And what about you, Roald?
Well, from a research perspective, I'd be really excited to hear about the perspective of adults and their insights on how to live well and living healthy and going, through the stages in a healthy way.
Yeah, that sounds so important. And for Mirren, for you?
I think is a wonderful opportunity ahead is for us to learn from adults with a disability and what we could be doing better to enable people to be doing what they want to be doing when they're an adult.
Yeah, so important. So we're looking at family life, community life, education, working life. So yeah, absolutely. So many areas of interest. So just really welcoming everybody to these listening and sharing sessions. Remember, if you're in Africa or Europe or Asia, Australasia, the Americas, there is a talk within your area, but also because it's over 24 hours, the sessions will be either live and you can contribute, or they'll be recorded. So really welcome you to join these sessions. Again, they're on the 1st of December, Friday, the 1st of the month, and it's to celebrate the idea that on the 3rd of December is the International Day of Disabled People. So we're trying to really promote people thinking for all of December about how important it is for our diverse communities. So 1st of December, sign on up. Please keep an eye on our Iaacd website. And if you're interested in being part of facilitating a session within your country, please let us know. So thank you so much, and let's join in the conversation globally.